What is going on? Boy, we had a comment before I even popped up live tonight. Old T-Lo, Mr. Tom Lowe in the house tonight. He was all over the process. It's all about the process. You gotta love the process. That's what Belichick says. I don't know what that means, but Belichick wins a lot, so we'll go with it. Well, what's going on? Welcome back to Thursday night top five baits. There is, excuse me, pardon me. Take me a little sip out of my. You're like, I might need me a little sip right here. Much better, much better. It was an interesting day on the water today, and it's been an interesting week. Things are changing fast, as they do in the fall. Fish on the lake, and I had a tough day today. I did not catch them very well today at all. Today was a tough day on me. It was a grind, but started to kind of figure something out. Saw something that it just, for whatever reason, took me a while to snap to. We missed some opportunities at the end of the day today after we made the adjustment, but we made the adjustment that got us those opportunities. And I know going forward over the next week or so, we're fixing to capitalize on this bite. I don't like to brag on myself or pat myself on the back, especially, you know, amongst friends, jokingly, fine. But to a public forum like this, live, and go, hey, look at how great I'm doing something. I'm fixing to do something that's rare. And I'm proud of myself for being the guy that does this, because I don't want to. Nobody that goes out and fishes every day, when they find something that they know is about to be real good, they don't want to tell everybody before it gets real good. They want to take advantage of it, utilize it, capitalize on that bite, and then maybe at some point share it. That's what everybody wants to do in the world of fishing. The people that fish every day, that's what they do. I just started to find this today. I've been looking for it every so often. I just started to find this today, and I'm going to share it with you guys tonight. I'm going to tell you what's going on. I'm going to tell you how to go catch them. I'm going to tell you exactly how you can find where to go catch them. And you're going to be one of the first ones on this pattern, because nobody is doing this right now. And it's just beginning. But I promise you, starting tomorrow, there'll be some people out there. Watch what I tell you. Anyways. The fall offshore deal, okay? First time today that I saw enough different sources of fish, different bait fish and all that gathered up out there to try it. And wouldn't you know it, my customer had him locked up on a big flutter spoon today. He had this, the rod was all the way locked up, and before we ever got a chance to see it, it came off. So no idea how big it was, but I know by looking at that rod and listening to the noises his line was making, she wasn't no baby. She wasn't no baby by any means. We also caught multi-species, just like we always talk about, that happens on the exact same spot, making the exact same cast. Caught catfish, caught yellow bass, and then he actually hooked into a couple different bass and lost them on the flutter spoon. Flutter spoon's an easy bait to lose fish on if you don't fish it a lot. I'm going to tell you, it really is. But he hooked into one that was for sure a big one on that flutter spoon today and lost it. So the deep offshore bite is starting to happen. And I'm going to tell you, this is how you find them. Right now is maybe the best time, and I normally don't say this, so please don't think I'm just trying to sell you something here. Right now might be the very best time for you guys to go subscribe to the Fish Life app Lake Fork subscription package, because you can go on there, and right now there's exactly 2 offshore spots marked. I marked both of those 2 at the beginning of October because I knew those 2 spots would be the first spots to get megas. There's always the spots that get them the earliest, and the spots that gather the biggest schools of fish in the month of October happen on these 2 spots every year. They weren't there yet when I marked the spots at the beginning of October. They're there now. They just got there in a significant enough way where I could capitalize on it a little bit today and get some bites for my customers on them. But if you guys will go subscribe to the Lake Fork package on the Fish Life app, you can see those 2 spots, and it's only 2 spots, the offshore spots, the only 2 offshore spots marked on the whole app. So it's really easy for you to figure out which one it is. Get on it and go throw some spoons. You literally might catch the biggest fish of your life, because you're going to be one of the first ones out there on it before everybody gets out there and busts them up and sore lips them. And every year when that happens in the very beginning, it's special, guys. Like, you don't catch a lot of bass. You'll catch a lot of fish. You won't catch a lot of bass on these spots. But the bass that you do catch tend to be next level big. So just telling you, just saying. Of course, what are we going to throw out there? We're going to throw the biggest spoon we can find. The biggest one I own is the big 6 cents Magnum flutter spoon. This is a big old hubcap chunk of metal, but it flutters really well. Somebody's saying they weren't there during the Berkeley. That literally, they weren't there yesterday. They're there today. Like, it just happened. That's why, like, I literally had to kick this around in my head and say, like, to myself, I had to think about it before I went live tonight and go, am I going to stick to my guns and be true to what I say I represent and really share the information as real time and as open and honest as possible? Or am I going to do the little bit of a selfish thing and maybe hold on to this till next week? Because that's what I want to do. I want to hold on to this info till next week so I can go be the first one to catch fish out of these spots, not you guys. Because my trip rescheduled tomorrow because of the weather, so it's going to be the weekend after that. You guys are going to be out there too, and then I'm not going to be the first one on it. You guys are. So y'all go catch them and send me some pictures because I want to see them because I know they're there. I know they're there. So anyway, big flutter spoon. That's the number one bait to throw on that offshore structure to get that one bite of a lifetime. That's the bait. And you got to be patient. You got to sit there and milk it and throw it and throw it and throw it. You can't go out there, throw it for 5 minutes, and give up on it. So when you get out there and you mark those fish, you find and graph these areas, graph these row beds, graph these pond ends, graph these points. When you find those big sources of bait fish, different types of fish, find a few bass here and there, mark those areas and fish those areas for long periods of time. Don't give up on them quick. Remember, you're fishing for one giant bite, guys. This is a great time of year to go catch the biggest fish of your life, and this is a great, maybe the best way to do it. But it takes time and patience and stick-to-itiveness, you might say. The other bait that you can throw out there, and this will help you get some confidence, it'll help you get some action, and you'll identify what species are down there real well with a jigging spoon. Slab jigging spoon. This is my favorite one from Joe Spates. It's got chartreuse and silver on one side, silver flake and silver on the other. Gives a good chartreuse flash. Kind of represents a little bit of that yellow bass. I do catch really big bass on this from time to time, but you'll catch every species down there. The catfish, the crappie, the sand bass, the yellow bass, they'll all bite it. So if you're wanting to identify what species you're looking at on your electronics, or you're wanting to see what's down there, find out what bait fish you're targeting, because those bass, those big giant bass, are eating all those smaller species that are up there. They're eating the crappie, they're eating the catfish, they're eating all of it. So great tool right there with the jigging spoon. And that's the only two baits that I would even worry about fishing out deep. When you're targeting those fish that are eating big bait, this is really the one thing you need to throw religiously. Okay, let's transition to some shallow water, because there's still more than enough shallow water fish to go around. There's still a lot of fish shallow in the backs of the creeks. I struggled on them today. I know some other guys, they caught them pretty well today. One of the spots that I went to today, I know a guy just caught a bunch right before we got there, and it was a fellow guy and a good friend of mine, and it is what it is. He was there first, him and his folks caught him, and we didn't. That's the way it goes sometimes. But this is an interesting thing too that changed. So today we were struggling real bad on the shad pattern baits. So I picked up the red trap, the crawfish colored lipless crankbait, and within 5-10 minutes of me picking it up, got a bite on it. So it's time to start throwing the crawfish colored crankbaits. I'm not telling you not to throw the shad pattern crankbaits still, but it's time to start thinking about throwing crawfish colored crankbaits as well, especially in the lipless baits, mixing those in that shallow grass like they love to do in the fall. So I think it's time to start throwing these. Somebody's asking, do I have a video on how to work that big spoon? Don't have any experience with it. Absolutely. We've made a couple videos on working a big flutter spoon. You can search those up. If you just search on YouTube, search Your Lake Fork Guide Flutter Spoon, those videos will pop right up. Now, this bait did get us some bites today, and of course, this bait we've been throwing for a while, and it is a shad pattern bait, but the 3/8 ounce chatterbait with the Smash Tail Junior got bites for us today as well. So that's another bait in our top 5. It's still going strong, still getting some bites. Another bait that got some bites for us today, and this one's kind of a new arrival, and it's about time for the swim baits to start showing up. And the big swim baits will probably start showing up here in the next couple of weeks, I would imagine. But Little Holly, the little hollow belly from Smash Tech, with the little underspin, Odin Flashy Swimmer underspin, back in the grass, got us some bites as well. All right, well, let's answer some questions, because I know and I'm sure that you guys have some questions tonight based on all the news that I just dropped on you. Asking about Tom Lowe's asking about the Tiger Truce lipless crankbait. I'm not throwing Tiger Truce right now. The water's not dirty enough. I really only throw that Tiger Truce kind of in like January and February when we get some rain and the water gets real dirty in the wintertime, because it tends to get dirtier in the winter than it does now. That's when I go to that Tiger Truce. So right now I'm not throwing the Tiger Truce, but I have switched to the regular standard crawl patterns. And that lipless crankbait that I'm using, by the way, guys, if you don't know, that's the Quake 70 from 6 Cents Fishing. Regular BB sound, not a one knocker. Although I don't think a one knocker is a bad idea right now. You could go with the Quake Thud, which is a one knocker type bait. Both great baits. The big 6 Cent spoon you saw earlier that I'm using, another great bait. Find them all at 6centsfishing.com. If you order anything from 6centsfishing.com, be sure you punch in the discount code, Your Lake Fork Guide, get you a 10% discount. Thoughts on coming weather pattern with lots of rain in the forecast? Yeah, we're going to get some rain. The rain does not seem to be dirtying up the water. We had like a 3-inch, we had a night the other night where we got over 3 inches of rain. And it really did not dirty the water up very much at all. So I wouldn't worry too much about the rain. You know, just pay attention to the water temps when they start really trending cooler. And as we go forward, I mean, start leaning towards some of that offshore stuff. That offshore stuff is going to get better and better as the water keeps getting colder, and that's what these fronts and these rains are going to do. They're going to keep cooling that water off. As far as the shallow water fishing, you know, it'll just go to you know, just fish more toward, instead of being so much on the flats, we'll start focusing more on the drains and the ditches and the creek channel edges, and we'll try to slow down, get a little bit deeper grass where we can with that lipless crankbait. Slow down a little bit maybe with some weightless plastics, or just take that chatterbait and really get it on the outside edge of that grass only and really slow down with it. But yeah, as the water temps keep cooling, we're going to start slowing the baits down a little bit, even go to some of the bigger swim baits that'll move a little slower through the water column. Even though they're bigger baits, because they move slower, they'll bite them better. And those big gizzard shad are in the backs of the creeks right now. There's a ton of creeks that have a ton of big gizzard shad in the very backs of them. I've seen them with my eyes. So it's time to throw the big swim baits as well. Yeah, I think I answered that question. Hopefully I did. What is my schedule for February and March? February is pretty open. February is fairly open. I think March might be completely full. If March is not completely full, there's only 1 or 2 days left. March might be completely full though. I think we just filled it up the other night, if I'm not mistaken. But I've been wrong plenty of times when it comes to scheduling. That's why I have a guy that helps me with it. If you ever called to book a trip with me, you know there's a guy that helps me with the scheduling, because I need it. Flat-sided crank time? Yes, it is flat-sided crank time. Frisco, Texas man is asking about flat-sided crankbaits. The flat 75X from 6 Cents is definitely a player right now. Your lipless crankbaits are definitely a player right now. Yes, from now going forward for several months, it will be flat-sided crank time. In the morning, would a shad-colored frog get bit still? Yeah, you know, if I was throwing a topwater, I'd still be leaning towards white right now. That would be the color I'm going to throw on all my topwaters, would be white. On the app, when will the power plant lake waypoints be updated again? Waiting to buy it until they get updated. So we updated Brandy Branch because I was out there last week, as you guys saw in the video. I haven't had a chance to get on Welsh. Welsh is still sketchy to get in. The water's still very, very low, so I can't do anything with Welsh. I'm going to do my very best to get out to Martin Creek and update Martin Creek as soon as possible. But Welsh, we're waiting on the water level to get out. It's kind of not, I mean, you can get a boat launch there, but it's also kind of sketchy. And I don't want to be encouraging people to go out there and get folks stuck on the ramp and all that. So we're going to have to catch some weather and catch the right rain and get the water level back up at Welsh before I can really go out there and explore the lake and run around and update it the way I need to. Okay, my buddy that helps me with the scheduling, Chris Blackman, is on tonight. He says we do still have a few days left in March. So there is a few days left in March if you want to get some. What time does seminar start tomorrow night? Yeah, tomorrow night we have a seminar at Lake Fork Marina. It starts at 6 p.m. David Oziel is going to be back up there with me tomorrow night. We're going to have a good time, man. I cannot wait Hopefully get to meet and greet some of you guys. Hopefully see some new faces that haven't been there before. I know we'll see a bunch of the old ones that are always there. So always look forward to seminar nights at Lake Fork Marina, 6 p.m. Gonna be a good time. If you're in the area, please do stop by. We'd love to see you. Do I think the backs of coves fishing is over? No, 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 no. No, those fish have not vacated by any means. The back of the cove fishing is just peaking. But what happens is when the back of the creek and the back of the cove fishing peaks, the offshore fishing starts getting real good too. Like the fall offshore bite starts peaking at the same time. No, the back of the coves and the back of the creeks fishing is just starting to peak as far as the numbers of fish and the number of bait that's back there. But it's just the other fish, you know, when turnover happens, it kind of scatters things out and pushes everything shallow everywhere. And then they start migrating, and some migrate back and some migrate back out to the main lake. And those ones that have migrated back out to the main lake are just now starting to get gathered. But the back of the creek fishing is definitely going to be going. It is not anywhere close to over, no time soon. What's up, Big Perm? I mean, Big Worm? That's what I'm talking about. Just bought a couple Movement 80Xs. Seems to run on its side but run straight. Tweak the line tie but no change. Are your eyes playing tricks on you? Mainly, it rolls real hard side to side and it swings a lot. Like it's called a movement for a reason. There's a whole lot of movement in that bait. So, you know, if it's rolling on its side and you can't get it tuned right and it's running on one side or the other like this and just constantly wobbling like this or like this, you need to notify 6 Sense. They'll take care of you, I promise you, because that's not normal. What is the best month to come for spawning bedfish? Well, here at Lake Fork, the best month for spawning bedfish as far as consistency is April, especially the first half of April. Like from like March 20 to April 20, that's like the peak of the spawn. Have I thrown the high dollar HPH glide bait? I have thrown the high dollar HPH glide bait. Somebody said they would like to see a video of me throwing the HPH glide bait. It's hard to get video content of that bait. You just don't get a lot of bites on it, you know. And when I go make videos, I get 1 day a week to make videos, so I got to go try to put fish in the boat any way I can to make sure that we don't have a video of me only catching 1 or 2. So it's hard to go commit to a big bait like that you often only get 1 or 2 bites a day on when I need to catch 8 or 10. You know what I mean? So that's hard for me to get video content doing that the way I do things, because I only video 1 day a week. And I like doing it that way because it keeps it realistic for you guys. You guys get to fish 1 or 2 days a week. I get to video 1 day a week, so it's real relatable to y'all as far as what you see, what you get. Sometimes we struggle on the video. A lot of times we catch them. We've been fortunate, had a lot of good things happen on camera, but not every time. You know, there's times when we struggle, just like there's times when you guys go out on the weekends for 1 day and y'all struggle. That is a hard thing to get video content on unless I film every day and catch the right day where they're biting it real good. Any advice on us old bank burners, bank beaters? Well, it's fall, and fall means that fish are moving a lot. Fish are moving a lot. So, and this is always a good bet at Lake Fork for bank fishermen. But those bridges in the creeks, especially those 3 bridges on Highway 17 in the creeks, Williams, Little Mustang, Big Mustang, those bridge corners, those bridge ripraps, that's always a good bet for bank fishermen around Lake Fork because it's a natural pinch point where they come through those gaps in the bridges as the fish move in and out of the creeks. And the fall is a time when a lot of fish are moving around, so it should be even better. So I would say fish those. And, you know, when you're bank fishing, you need to use the bank fishing to your advantage. You're a stationary fisherman. You can't move around. You can't cover water. Well, if you can't cover water, then you need to take that and use it to your advantage in the way of fish more finesse, fish more slow, fish a Carolina rig, fish a jig, fish a drop shot, fish some more finesse type tactics and really, really, really slow down because you have to. So make that a strength of yours and get good at fishing slow and finesse type techniques. That would be my advice to bank fishermen. Any tips for Ray Roberts right now? I personally have never been on Ray Roberts, so I'm the wrong guy to ask for tips on Ray Roberts. We do have a great package on the Fish Life app. Our contributor up there does a great job. A lot of people have caught a lot of big fish using the Fish Life app, Ray Roberts package. So I would say subscribe to the Fish Life app. I mean, that would be my advice to you if you're fishing Ray Roberts. So um, I don't have any direct advice on Ray Roberts myself because I've never fished there. Rod preference for the big spoon. Yeah, I have, and I don't even know that they sell this rod or not, or if it was like a one-off trial that they 6 cents sent me. But I have like a really long medium action rod, and that's what it's a 710 medium action Lux series rod that I use for the big spoons. That's what I like to use the best. It is. You just need a long rod that's got a lot of tip. I want something at least 7.5 foot long, and I want it to have a lot of bend in the tip. A medium heavy with a moderate tip or something like that, like something that's got a lot of bend in it. I don't want to overpower that fish on that spoon. Once I get that hook dug into that fish with that spoon, I really want to let him kind of swim. I want to let him just do his thing and not pull him. I don't want to pull him up at all. I don't want him coming to the surface if I can keep from it. If he does come to the surface, and there's times when you hook him on that big spoon and they're making a beeline for the top, when they do that, you better put the heat to him when they do that. You better just burn that reel handle fast as you can and just keep picking up as much line and don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. And then once he goes back down and starts swimming down, let him go down. And try to keep him down. Try to let him go down. By no means do I want you to get your rod straight or let the line go slack, but put as little pressure on him as possible to keep that line tight. For the jigging spoon, I just use really light rods. This is the 6'9" medium Lux series rod. I use that for a jigging spoon. You could get away with a 7 foot medium heavy. 7'1" medium heavy is another one that I can use on a jigging spoon. But all these spoon baits, they have treble hooks that relative to the size of the bait are pretty small, and they've got a lot of weight. That metal weighs a lot in front of them. It's a heavy bait out in front of them. That creates a lot of leverage for the fish to throw that bait. Therefore, I want a rod with a lot of bend in it to act as much of a shock absorber as I can. What is my opinion on the DC reels? The Shimano DC reels, my opinion on them is they sound goofier and they run over duck and they don't cast that much better for the money. I would much rather take, my loose tournament MB cast it just as far as those Shimano DCs do, and they sound really weird. They sound like they're like sneezing or something every time you throw them. I have not been overly impressed when customers have gotten a boat with me with DC reels. I just haven't. Oh, somebody's asked about the line size. Line size on the spoons, 12 to 15 pound, like 15-pound fluorocarbon is what I use. 12-pound mono, 15-pound mono can work too, but typically that's what I'm using, about 15-pound fluorocarbon. How am I today? I'm doing great today, Brandon. Thank you very much for asking. Thank you for watching tonight, buddy. I'm doing absolutely outstanding, man. I went fishing today. Now I'm hanging out talking about fishing tonight, so I'm pretty much in hog heaven right now. Would a long cranking rod work for that spoon? Yes. Yes, a long cranking rod, a glass rod would be great for that spoon. Now, it would get tiresome working that spoon up and down with that cranking rod because those cranking rods tend to be heavy. Yeah. When would I pick up the A-rig? You can throw the A-rig right now. I'm throwing the spoons because I want to target that really big fish and I want to throw that really big spoon. But an A-rig can work right now, absolutely. This is the time to start thinking about throwing an A-rig, yeah. Have I thrown this? I have not gotten a chance to throw the suspending Quake 70. 6 Cents has made a suspending lipless crankbait that I need to get in my hands. I have not got that in my hands yet. I need to make a phone call, make an email order, something. I need to get some of those. I haven't had a chance to throw those yet, but it's time and I need to. That could be a really cool bait to throw. I'm looking forward to that. Windy days, you fishing the wind blowed side, or is that even a factor right now? Yeah. And no, I want to fish the wind right now. I want to fish the wind right now unless it's just too strong. I mean, there's times right now, like today and yesterday, the wind is blowing like crazy. it can blow it out where you don't want to fish it. The fish aren't that aggressive right now for whatever reason. And so, if they were super aggressive, then I'd fish the windiest thing that I could. But right now, I would rather fish like the windy side, but not just out of control windy, if that makes sense. How am I liking the weedless shad? I don't know which one you're talking about. I mean, if you're talking about like swim baits like this, yeah, I mean, swim baits like this are great. It's a great time of year to throw weedless swim baits of all kinds, whether it be the baby poacher. I know Heath Taylor, the guy that makes these swim baits that I throw, he actually had a really good morning on the full size poacher earlier this week on another lake. So yeah, swim baits are working everywhere right now. It's a great time of year to throw. Fall is a great time of year to throw swim baits. What is my opinion on the Hydro Wave? I don't know. I've never had it. I think it's a little superfluous. I think it's a little overkill. I don't. It doesn't make sense to me how we can put artificial noise in the water and it be good for the fishing. I don't think that's a great thing. Um, well, look at this, Eddie, Mr. Eddie over here sending $5 into the super chat. What did he say? Lake Fork guy said, "You know your stuff and to check you out, man." I told Justin Rackley, that's a big compliment coming from a big dude right there. That's awesome. I appreciate him saying that, man. Rack Attack is. I'm gonna tell you guys something about Justin Rackley. Justin Rackley is one of the nicest, finest people you will ever meet. He is a great guy. So for him to say something like that about me, it means a lot. So thank you very much for sharing that, Eddie. I appreciate that. And thank you for the $5. That's awesome, man. I appreciate that. A little super chat donation. We haven't had one of those in a while. That's really cool. And Justin Rackley's an Aggie, so you should have already known that he's a fine human being, if you know what I'm saying. Is there a trick to getting a good set on the hollow body? I've noticed I have to really let them eat it or I jerk it away. Could be that, this plastic on this stuff's pretty tough. It's a real durable bait. It's one of the best parts about it. But you got to really, when you skin hook it right here, you got to make sure you get real thin. It's easy to get that hook in there too far and see how that kind of pops up right there. Now that's going to be hard for that hook point to pop out now. But if you get it in there real thin, okay, that hook point, see now that hook point's exposed. Okay, so you got to make sure you don't get that hook in there too deep on that because that's some pretty tough skin on that. It's a pretty tough bait. Don't get too deep with the hook. And the other thing is sometimes, man, especially we've had so many fronts, like we've been having so many cold fronts, it's like all the time is post-frontal. Like almost every day's conditions are post-frontal conditions. Well, when that happens, the fish are going to tend to bite a little funky, tend to not get the bait all the way, and you do have to let them eat it a little extra in those conditions a lot of times. So could just be a victim of the circumstances of what's going on the last couple weeks, last week or so, and it could just be that you're rigging it a little too deep into the plastic. Somebody says, everybody has a downfall. I guess y'all's is maroon. Son, that is grown man's purple right there. Don't be telling me nothing about, if you're an LSU fan, that's men's purple. See that color out there? That's men's purple. That color right there, that's just one of the ugliest colors of all time. Like, how in the state of Texas, we're going to take the University of Texas and pick the ugliest color on the planet to be the color. Like, literally the ugliest color on the planet. If you think burnt orange is a cool looking color or a sharp looking color, there's something wrong with you. I'm just telling you. This is just not right. LFG rocks. LFG does rock. He's awesome, dude. What do you think about the prank plopper? I like the way it moves, but no such luck in the prank plopper. I love a whopper plopper. I'm not real sure what a prank plopper is. How is fantasy football going for me this year? Fantasy football is going tremendous. I'm in first place overall in my league. I have the highest scoring team in my league. I have Dalvin Cook. I've made a trade for Christian McCaffrey. I also just made a trade that got me Leonard Fournette. I no longer have Pat Mahomes. I got rid of him in one of these trades, but I do have Russell Wilson, which is not too shabby in and of itself. My receivers aren't great. My receivers aren't great by any means. I've got Mike Evans and Terry McLaurin. I used to have Mike Evans and Keenan Allen, but Keenan Allen was part of one of those trades. So my lineup goes like this: Russell Wilson, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin, Leonard Fournette in the flex, and then I don't even know who I got on defensive kicker because those really don't matter. So I'm unsubscribing. You just exposed the Longhorns. Oh my goodness. I don't know what's worse, the burnt orange or the yellow. Fair enough. Okay, fair. That I'll wear that. I'll wear that. Have I used the Sprinkler Frog much? If so, what's your review on it? I picked it up a while back. Haven't had much luck myself. Not the biggest fan of it. I actually had a competitive prototype that was out just before the Sprinkler Frog that I liked better. They ended up not going to production with it when the Sprinkler Frog hit. It took off so big they ended up not going to production with this other prototype that I had. Um, it's okay. I mean, it's just okay. It doesn't do much that a ribbit didn't already do, or that a buzzbait can't do. Really, to be honest with you, it just doesn't. You can throw a buzzbait through most grass and stuff, and it just doesn't really add anything. It's a quieter version of a noise-making bait, which is not great to me. Alabama and LSU in 2 weeks. Best quarterback ever hurt. I'm not real sure what that part is. Slow retrieve versus fast retrieve in the fall. Something. So let's talk about something. We'll wrap it up with this. Okay. I appreciate you guys asking so many questions, and I'll try to answer as many as I could. But we are beginning to run a little long, so I want to answer this. This will be a good long discussion here. Slow retrieve versus fast retrieve in the fall. There's something that you have to do in the fall, and it gets said a lot, and it's a cliche saying, and I'm not sure how many people really soak in how important this is and what this really means. You have to listen to the fish. Things change, I mean, just almost daily in the fall. To some, as far as little changes, there's little changes every day in the fall that need to be made. Um, I was a victim of not adjusting to the changes that need to be made well enough today. I fell victim to that. You have to look at the activity level, and in the fall, there's a lot, especially in the shallow water in the fall. There's always a lot of surface activity. Well, if there isn't any, that tells you something. That tells you that you should be slowing down. I needed to go a lot slower. I needed to slow down and fish stationary today, and I never did. I wanted to keep moving because it's fall, and I wanted to find that school, and I wanted to find that bunch, and I wanted to find that home run for my customers, and we just kept zip, 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 and it never happened. There was no surface activity today. They weren't that active. They were moving slow, and I was moving fast, and because of that, I paid the price. You have to listen to these fish. If those fish are busting shad like crazy, and you see them waking on the surface, you see that ripple where they're chasing the bait fish, fish fast, fish real fast. If you don't see any activity at all in the fall, and you feel confident that you're in an area where there's fish, you need to slow down. Like, you have to listen to what they tell you. The way they bite it, like Ben was talking about earlier, they're missing the bait. Well, if they're not eating the bait real good and you're having to let them chew on it real long, that tells you might need to slow down. You know, um, or it could be a hookup issue if you're not sure on that. But it could be that you just need to slow down a little bit, or maybe you need to speed up a little bit. Like, you have to pay attention to every little detail in the fall because there's so much changes going on just all the time. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for the night, man. Thank you guys so much for joining us tonight. Please come see us at the seminar, Lake Fort Marina, 6 p.m. tomorrow evening if you're in town. Just awesome, man. I'm really excited. Go catch some of those deep fish that are just getting out there. They're brand new. I'm not going to get on them tomorrow because of the weather. You guys go get them this weekend. Let me know how you do. Send me some pictures. DM us on Instagram. Hit us up on Facebook. Anywhere you want to. At Your Lake Fort Guide, even at yourlakefortguide.com. Send us an email if you want to. Thank y'all so much. I sincerely hope y'all catch more and bigger fish this weekend. I sincerely appreciate everything that you guys do to help keep this train running down the tracks. It's all because of you that I get to do what I do, which is live my dream every single day. I just want y'all to know that every single morning when I pull away from that boat ramp and I look out across that water and I'm about to open that boat up, I am more grateful than I could ever possibly express to y'all. I really, really am. So thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time right here on your Lake Fork Guide.